Welcome to my Sunday show. I'm Vivian, and this is episode 1, the beginning. Here's what's coming up. About this book I read last week because I've been having conflicting thoughts about it and about how I'm supposed to be feeling about the main character. So let's talk. The book is The Personal Librarian by Marie Benedict and Victoria Christopher Murray. It is a fictionalized true story of Belle Marion Greener, who went by the name Belle DeCosta Green because her mother changed her name so that she could pass as a white woman in New York City in the early 1900s. Belle becomes the personal librarian of J.P. Morgan, and this book is the story of those years that she spent working to make the Morgan Library into like the preeminent private collection of ancient manuscripts and art, like the best collection in the world. And while she's doing this, right, while she's working for Morgan, she becomes the most successful career woman in the world. She becomes famous, right? Because the 1900s, it's a time when women don't have careers, and women of color, people of color, don't have careers, right? They have segregation and Jim Crow laws and lynchings. They don't have famous careers, which is why Belle's mother decided that she and her children were going to pass as white, right? She wanted them to have a shot at a better life, even if it meant living the rest of their lives in fear of somebody finding out and destroying everything. So this is The Personal Librarian, and it sounds like a really good read, right? So like I said, I'm having conflicting thoughts about the book and about how I'm supposed to be feeling at the end of the book. So I feel like at the end of this book, I was supposed to be amazed at all of Belle's accomplishments and her achievements, and how she defied all of these odds, and she was a great success, right? She's a unicorn. She's a trailblazer. And like, I was impressed with her, of course I was. I mean, she was impressive, like really impressive. She had this amazing career. She accomplished like so many things, everything, all of her professional goals, tick, 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 accomplished, right? She traveled, and she traveled in first class, right? She hobnobbed with the elite. She got to see things and do things that most people like never get to see or do. And she, I mean, it seemed like she had some fun. There were some good times. It felt like at the end of the book, when Belle is looking back over her life and how she accomplished her big goal of taking the Morgan Library public so that everybody could experience the books and the art and the grandness of the library. And she was so proud of all that she had done and all that she had overcome. And I felt like I was supposed to be feeling this like sense of accomplishment with her, but I didn't. I just felt sad. So her story reminded me of a poem that I read in April, a line from a poem, and it goes like this. There are people roaming the streets who haven't been loved in years. There are people roaming the streets who haven't been loved in years. And I was like, yeah, that is Belle DeCosta Green. And instead of feeling inspired by her and everything that she'd done, I walked away from this book feeling kind of bad for her because I was wondering, I was just like, yeah, she accomplished all of that. Well, was she happy? And I don't know. She never seemed like she was happy ever. And I can't stop thinking about it for days now. Like when I go for my morning walks, Belle de Costa Green has been like haunting me. And maybe it's because, I mean, true confessions, I like it when characters are happy at the end of the book. I do like that. And it's what, like, I want there to be a nice wrap up to the book where everyone's happy. And I don't think she was. And maybe like I was just exhausted for her because I felt like she was spending so much emotional energy hiding who she was from everyone and pretending to be something else. I mean, she was the queen of hiding and pretending, and she had to be. Like, it wasn't safe for her to not be hiding and pretending, right? And so, even though her professional life was soaring, right? Her personal life, her personal relationships, her inner life was a mess, like a total mess. Because maybe it started for Belle with having to hide the truth about the color of her skin. But it seemed like it got to the point where she was hiding everything from everyone all the time. Like she just didn't feel safe sharing anything about herself or her life or how she was feeling. Like she couldn't share anything with anyone, not even her family or like people that she loved. It felt like she felt like she couldn't risk exposing any part of herself to anyone. And she just seemed so isolated and alone. And this is what I know is true. If you're hiding who you are and pretending to be something else, it is impossible for you to connect with another human being. And if you can't connect with anyone ever, can you be happy? I don't think so. And if you're not happy, what is it worth? I don't know. So these are all the things that are going through my head as I'm on my morning walks, and Belle de Costa Green is like haunting me. I feel like what I am taking away from the personal librarian is this: hiding who you are and pretending to be somebody else sucks. If I learned anything from Belle, it's that you've got to be able to be who you are to be happy. And you've got to be able to let people see who you really are if you're going to have the kinds of relationships that are going to make you happy. If the beauty of books and stories is that they allow us to imagine different endings and better possible worlds, then I feel like this book wants me to imagine a world where everyone is able to be who they are and be seen and be known and be happy. So this is what I learned from Belle de Costa Green. This is what my takeaway from the book is, which is not at all what I expected when I sat down to read the book. And it's not what I expected even when I finished the book and started to write about it in my reading journal. It's like instead of me being able to get inside her brain and inside her life, she like, I don't know, she came and like invaded my brain and my life while I'm just trying to do my morning walk. Yeah, she sort of got into my brain and made me think and imagine, like I said, imagine a different ending and a better world. So yeah, Bella Costa Green. Got it. Okay, it is no secret how much I love the Outlander books. I mean, I love them so much. I love them so much that this segment is just a bit of the Outlander files, moments of meaningfulness and words of wisdom from Jamie Fraser. Say, no, Jamie, no, you don't. Oh my gosh, everyone, I want you to meet Tania White. Tania is one of my dear friends here in our little town by the sea in Portugal, and she is my podcast partner. And I'm so happy she's joining me on the first episode ever of my Sunday show. So, Tania, I want to talk reading habits, reading lifestyle, all of the good stuff about you. But we're going to start with the lightning round. Are you ready? Don't be afraid.
Yes, I'm ready.
You're ready. I'm ready. All right. All right. We got 5 questions. And they're easy, I think, unless they're not. All right. First answer that comes into your head. Ready?
Ready.
What do you prefer? Fiction or nonfiction?
Nonfiction.
All right. Easy. Good. What's more important in a book to you? The characters or the plot?
Plot.
Ooh. All right. Number 3, if you are judging a book by the outside, what is more important, the cover or the title?
The cover, artist. Gotta do
Okay. And what is more important, the blurb about the book or the reviews?
The blurb.
I mentioned earlier that you were my podcast partner. Do you want to say what our podcast is about?
Okay, sure. So the name of our podcast is Book Tales and with cocktails. The book tales with cocktails kind of thing, because it's 2 things we like to do. Little drinky poo and a lot of reading. So so we just get together. We have a recipe that coordinates with the book. And then we just talk about what we think about the book, the author, that kind of stuff.
And when are we launching this podcast?
Oh, good. Okay, I am thinking that we will launch the end of July, the 1st of August, recording and editing. Oh, gosh. Yeah, that I think we'll be ready then.
Yeah, we've been recording and editing some episodes. We've read some good books.
Yes, we have.
We've had some good discussions.
Yes, we have. Yes, we have. And that's where the editing comes in because, we've talked for quite a while on these books.
We ramble.
Yeah, we do.
We're all over the place sometimes.
Yes.
Let me ask you this, Tania. Have you always been a reader? Like when you were little, have you always been a reader?
Well, to tell you the truth, no. I really got into reading in high school. And yes, I did read, during school, but it was always required reading. So I'm thinking really getting into reading for yourself is different than required reading.
Yeah, for sure.
And in high school, and it's funny that I got into reading from my creative writing classes. Ooh. I know, it's strange. This is me. This is why I need to write these other books. But yes, that's when I really got into it, and nonfiction, because I realized that I wanted to know how things worked.
Wow. So did you have like, I mean, this makes sense because I think writers are readers. And so it makes sense to me that your creative writing class would have sparked like more of an interest in wanting to read.
Yes, it did. It really made a change for me.
So what do you get out of it? What does reading do for you in your life like now as an adult?
Well, it starts, well, like I said, for me, it explains a lot of things. I use it for improvement, for escape, for understanding. That's basically
Do you
why.
have any favorite books or favorite authors?
Well, now the one that I can think of that's doing the most for me right now is Henry Gates Jr.
Ooh, all right.
And the favorite book is Finding Your Roots. And the
Ooh,
reason why I say this particular book is because it is amazing how this day and time in the US, how people are so separate. And when you go back to your roots, it is amazing. You find out some of these people are your people.
ooh.
So yes,
So that's your book of the day.
that's my book of the day. Yes,
All
Finding
right.
Your Roots.
How do you choose the books that you read?
Okay, well, I'm one of those visual people.
The
So
cover.
one,
You like the cover.
I like the cover. Well, it has to do with the subject matter of the book because then
Okay.
that puts me in the area of the bookstore because I could stay in there all day. So it puts me in the right area of the bookstore. And then the subject matter is, next because I'm right there of whatever I'm going through at the time or I want to know about at the time. But
Yeah.
when I get to that section, yeah, the cover will win me over
Yeah.
because it'll be like, these are my people. Because whoever the author was or the editor or whomever, they knew how to pick a good, something that would grab you off the shelf. So I can't help myself.
No, I'm totally judging books by their cover. Totally. And yeah, yeah. I yeah. So have you ever read anything by Colleen Hoover?
No, I have not.
A few months ago, I read the Slammed series, and the two main characters in those books play a game called Would You Rather? Do you know this
Mhm.
game?
No. Tell me about it.
Do you want to play with me? Be a good sport.
Sure. Why not?
All right. Very cool. So, Would You Rather is a game where, like, we ask each other questions. Would you rather this or that? And you have to choose between the two options. And so, these are the questions from the book Slammed that Will and Layken ask each other when they're playing the game. So,
Okay.
here we go. Would you rather drink an entire gallon of bacon grease for breakfast every day? Or would you rather have to eat 5 pounds of popcorn for supper every night? I know the answer.
Give me the popcorn. Give me the popcorn.
I was
Yes,
like, I
I
know
can
that
do
one. That's
that.
easy.
I
Bacon
totally do
grease.
that now. That's like super easy. Popcorn it is, just in case if you didn't know my answer.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay. Vivian, would you rather look at Hugh Jackson or George Clooney?
George Clooney. 100%. George Clooney.
Yeah, yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would you
Even as he gets
rather?
older, he
Oh,
looks good. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
no, would you say Hugh Jackman looks good? He does look
No,
good.
no, 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 no. I was saying George Clooney. As he gets older, he just looks good
He's better and
still.
better, right?
I know. Mm. Okay, go ahead.
All right. Would you rather have constant, uncontrollable belching, or would you rather have to bark every time you heard the word the?
Oh my goodness. Belching is so nasty.
Constant, uncontrollable belching or barking like a dog every time you hear the word the.
I'm going to take the barking like a dog every time I heard the word the, simply because I think I could make that hilarious, kind of joking, fun situation. But that belching, that's nasty.
It's gross. It's gross.
It's nasty to your stomach. It's nasty to your mouth. And good Lord, what does it do to your breath? So yeah, no, I'm going with the barking.
All right.
Okay. Whew, these people are crazy. All right, Vivian. Would you rather be abducted by aliens or have to go on a tour with Nickelback?
I don't know who Nickelback is, but I feel like I have to choose Nickelback because I also don't know who the aliens are, but aliens seem to do bad things to people, right? And I don't know that I want to be abducted by any kind of living being. So Nickelback, I don't know. I'd rather go on tour with Taylor Swift, but that wasn't the option.
No. And I'm thinking going on tour with musicians is going on tour with musicians. It would be fun to see how they put all that together, whether you like their music or not.
It'd be fun. You get to see the world.
There you go. See, find that silver lining, girl. Find that silver lining. All right.
Would you rather be an old rich woman with only 1 year left to live or a young, poor, sad woman with 50 years left to live?
Ooh, now let's see. So if I'm old, do I have all my faculties about me? Which old are we talking about? Old and decrepit or old with faculties?
Let's say old with faculties, but you're going to die in a year. You've only got 1 year, but you've got your faculties.
Okay, but I'm rich, right?
Yep.
See, since I'm already kind of like on that old side, I'm going to go with the 1 year rich and live your life.
All right.
Because it would be one wild, wild year. And if I only had that 1 year to live and I'm taking some friends with me, and because this is going to be one of those wild, wild lives, I might, a couple of my friends might drop off too.
Oh, no. Oh,
no. It's going to be that kind of party. You said I was rich.
I did. So you can finance all of your friends. All of your friends can come with you.
Yes. And everybody is not going to be able to hang. I have a whole year. People going to drop off in the first 90 days. I can tell you that now.
Maybe. Oh my gosh. All right. So that is Would You Rather. So Tania, before we say goodbye, tell everybody how they can find you, find Book Tales, connect. How do they get to you?
Okay. You can get to us via Book Tales on Facebook and on Spotify. And wherever you listen to your favorite podcast, we're hanging out. Come join us. It'll be a lot of fun.
Be a lot of fun. All right, Tania, thank you so much for coming and for talking with us today and playing the game.
Thank you for having me. I always enjoy myself when I'm hanging out with you there, Vivian.
Last weekend, I read A Piece of Normal by Maddie Dawson. It was part of my summer reading challenge, the challenge that I'm hosting, and it was my book for week 1. This book is about a woman who seems like she's got it all together, sort of. I mean, there's some weird things, but she loves her job. She's got a great job as an advice columnist for the local newspaper, and she loves it. She's got a super cute little boy and an ex-husband that they're still on great terms, right? He thinks that she's wonderful. He's hanging out at her house all the time, every night, which is a little bit weird, but worse things could be happening. And her house, she's living in a beach house, the beach house that she grew up in. And so it's a community full of people that she's known forever and that she actually likes. So there are some weird things, right? That her ex is at her house all the time and that she's always trying to set him up with her friends, to get him married off, I guess. I don't know, weird. And so she lives in her parents' house and she hasn't changed anything in 12 years. Like they've been gone for 12 years and she still sleeps in their bed on their mattress. All of their pictures and things are still hanging on the walls and like everything is still in the drawers. All of their stuff is still in the cupboards, like in the kitchen cupboards. So weird, right? And the other thing that you need to know is that she hasn't seen her sister, Dana, in 10 years since Dana like stormed off in a huff and like disappeared. No contact with her little sister for 10 years. So everything in her life is fine, sort of weird, but fine. And then little sister Dana shows up on Lily's doorstep and brings all of the drama and basically like turns Lily's life upside down, right? So family secrets come out and there's intensive aromatherapy sessions going on between little sister Dana and Lily's ex. And it's messy. It's messy. It's a story about families and friendships and how messy and marvelous they can be. And honestly, for Lily, I think it's probably more messy than marvelous. But that brings me to the Fig 3. Here are 3 things I'd love to discuss with my book club or anyone really about this book. In chapter 19, when Lily is outside talking to Gracie about what happened the day that Lily's parents died, and they're talking, and then Simon, the little boy, her son, is like, oh, there's a garter snake over there. And everybody jumps up and Lily says goodbye to Gracie and takes Simon in the house. And then she says, or she thinks, I don't mind bringing a firefly inside, but I'll be damned if I'm going to let snakes come into the house. Were you like, ooh, that's like kind of harsh on Gracie? Do you think Gracie was a snake because of the situation with Grace and Lily's mom and dad? Was she a snake? Okay, question 2. At what point would you have blown up at Dana and kicked her out of your house and kicked her out of your life for good? Like, at what point would you have done this? And how do you feel about the fact, and do you agree with me, that Dana is basically an awful human being who ends up getting everything she ever wanted at the end of the book, right? The bad guy wins at the end. Is this how you feel? And do you hate that too? And why do we hate it so much when Lily doesn't seem to hate it at all? Like, are we bad people? Is Lily just a million times more generous than we are? Should we be more like Lily? Or does Lily need to grow a backbone and be like us? And what do you think about Leon's advice? When it comes to love, you have to make your own luck. Is that good advice? And like, how do you do that? How do you make your own luck when it comes to love? And like, how did Leon make his own luck? Or Lily? Or Dana and Teddy? Like, how do you make your own luck? What does that even mean? Make your own luck. These are things I'd love to discuss after reading this book. So if you've read it, I would love to hear what you think in the comments. And if you haven't read the book, you're like, I have no idea what you're talking about in question 1 or question 2. But what do you think about the 3rd question? When it comes to love, do you have to make your own luck? And how do you do that? If you've got thoughts, please share them with me. I would love to hear them. Reading should be about more than just taking titles off a list. And if you believe that meaningful is better than more, and that connecting with characters and stories is better than just consuming book after book after book, then you're one of us. We read different. So go on and hit that subscribe button, and be sure to hit the notification bell so you'll get a reminder when next week's video drops. Thanks for watching. See you next time.